Hi, and welcome back. I'm Darcy Justin, and this is Love Your Midlife. Do you worry too much? Well, today we're going to talk about worry and a few things we can do that could possibly help. It's so difficult in midlife not to worry all the time. It seems like for some reason, a lot of things pop up a little bit later on in life that weren't there before. I remember when I was a little girl, my grandmother used to sit in her beautiful rattan um, rocker, and she used to say, worry is like a rocking chair. You go back and forth, but you really don't go anywhere at all. And I remember thinking that that was such a good analogy and such an interesting thing to say because I did worry about things when I was younger and I still worry about things now. But I do remember her saying that. And it does remind me that it's really kind of pointless most of the time and doesn't really do us very many favors to just sit and worry about things and not really have positive actions behind all the worrying. When we worry, it causes a lot of anxiety, and a lot of anxiety causes all kinds of problems for us, right? Health problems, mental health problems. Our body hates anxiety and usually rebels against it, right? Has all kinds of issues with stress and anxiety or headaches. Or sometimes when we worry, it leads to anxiety and maybe we overeat or we don't make good decisions or we try different type of coping mechanisms. Sometimes that can be in eating or sometimes it can be drinking or things like that. So worry and anxiety I know really go hand in hand, but they really don't bring much to our life other than stress and things that we really don't want to have in our lives. Worry tells our brain, okay, once we open that door to worry, it's like, okay, go ahead, just let me have it. What else do I need to worry about? And all of a sudden, it just kind of keeps going more and more and more. And I'm sure that you've noticed it causes almost kind of a downward spiral. And it can actually lead to more serious things like depression and things like that. So it's really important that we kind of get a handle on it. And everybody knows a worrier, right? We all have like an aunt or a neighbor, and you just see them coming across the street, and they're going to be telling you about something. They're chicken little, the sky is falling, it's doomsday. They just are not happy unless they're worrying. And actually, they really wear on you after a while, these people, right? It's like some of the other things that we have found about people that really wear on us. And so I actually, really feel bad for people that are like that and they're little worry, worry, worry all the time. But I made a conscious decision a few years ago that I would not fall into that trap. And it's hard as a mom. I know that it's hard when you have a business. It's hard when you're, getting ready to retire. All of these things cause an enormous amount of worry. And I get it, but there are things that we can do that will help that a little bit. So, um, we want to be very careful about letting too much worry into our lives, letting too much anxiety into our lives. And sometimes that can lead to fear. And fear, I think, is probably the most debilitating thing that can come into our lives, right? When we're living by fear, I call it the four-letter word, all kinds of stuff happens, right? We decide we're not going to go out. We saw it during COVID. There were so many people that were living in fear. And we had a lot of patience with people that didn't want to go out and didn't want to do certain things during COVID. But let's face it, that's not how we want to live our day to day lives. We don't want to live our day to day lives in fear and anxiety and worry. So One of the things that I would recommend, so let's talk about some tips that we can do that will help sort of help this alleviate this a little bit and help it be a little bit less of a problem for you. Or maybe you know someone, maybe it's your mom or your dad or your sister. So here are some things that we can do that could really help with worry. And most of the time, it's for us because all of us really deal with it at one time or another. One of the things that we can do is to write things down. If you really can't let something go in your life, it's good to write about it. And all of a sudden, when we start writing something, it becomes very different to us. We look at it from a different perspective when we start writing. So, write down what you're worrying about and maybe even write why. Maybe you're worrying about your child in college and you start writing down why. And all of a sudden you realize this probably isn't something that I need to be worrying about. I raised this child. This is a good child. And worrying about where they are all the time in college or what they're doing or if they're turning in their homework is probably not going to be really productive for me and probably not really productive for them either. Because when we worry, it does have the trickle down effect, right? It does affect other people, right? It's going to affect your kids. It's going to affect your job. It's going to affect your business. Everything is going to be affected by you worrying about it like that. So, um, whatever it is that you feel like you need to write down, to journal, to think about, also think about if there's something you could do that might be a better way of dealing with that. Maybe you talk to your college student once a week and eliminate some of those worries. Maybe if you're worrying about money, you get a handle on your money every day, and then maybe you have less reason to worry about money. So whatever it is that you need to write down that's really a problem for you, make sure you have something in there that's going to really help with that. And I guarantee you that will really help. I was coaching a woman about her money mindset. And really, what happened was it wasn't that she didn't have enough money, it's that she didn't know how much money she had. Right. And so that caused her all this worry about money. And it was mainly because she wasn't keeping track of it. And come to find out, a couple weeks later, after we went through some coaching sessions, she said, I can't believe I had enough money. I just wasn't keeping track of it. So, a lot of times there are things we can do to make this better and have a better handle on it. So, writing it down and coming up with some solutions is one. Two is, what is it that triggers your worry? Like, for all of us, there's something that triggers a lot of our emotions and feelings. A lot of times there's something that triggers fear or they're trigger. So what is it in your life that pops up, right? A trigger is something that pops up and all of a sudden it makes you think about something. It makes you worry about something. So look at what those triggers are. Try to identify them specifically and what you can do about those triggers. What can you do about them? What causes them? And how can you sort of nip them in the bud before they just pop up out of nowhere and then all of a sudden that's going to cause you to worry. The third thing is don't overload yourself. As women, sometimes we think we can do it all and we overload ourselves with too much during the day, during the week, maybe even for the whole month. These are my goals. These are what I want to get done, especially if you're very goal oriented. And that actually can lead to a lot of stress, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety. Maybe sit back and think about how you're structuring your days, your weeks, your month. Are you overloading yourself with too much? And that's causing stress and worry. And we want to make sure that, there's enough worry in the world as it is. And if we're just heaping it on our lap, I need more. I need more. Think about how silly that is and how ridiculous that is. So let's stop that. We can stop that today by not overloading yourself, coming up with some realistic goals, coming up with what you think you can get done. And then if you have time at the end of the day, at the end of the week, go ahead and do a few more things, but don't overload yourself, which is going to cause so much stress. The fourth thing is really pretty key. And I think we all fall into this trap about worrying about things we have no control over. And it really sounds kind of silly. Like, why would you worry about something that you have no control over? But we all do it, right? I was coaching a woman a couple years ago, and one of the things that she worried about was getting cancer. Now, we don't really have control over whether or not we're going to get cancer. We have control over our health, we have control over our bodies, but worrying about needing something down the future, in the future, worrying about dying from something, worrying about your spouse dying. These are all things that we don't really have control over, not on a daily basis. So we really need to let that go. That can really uh, carve out a huge chunk of our time and our thoughts, and really for no really valuable reason. Let's worry about things that we need to worry about today. Let's focus on things we need to focus about today. Why cause yourself more work and more angst? But we all do it, including me. We all do it. But let's catch ourselves and let's not do that. So the fifth thing is a lot of us worry about certain things like getting up and speaking in front of people or trying something that we've never done before. So we worry about doing that. And I would really suggest, especially in midlife, that you really get out of your comfort zone. I think it's really important to try new things and not be, not be afraid, but challenge yourself a little bit, challenge your brain a little bit. And whether it's maybe you've always really wanted to be in a play, but you worry about how you would do, go to the local community theater and have a little part in a play. And then all of a sudden, that builds your confidence. And also, it gives you something less that is in the back of your mind that you have to worry about. So, I would really recommend that you get out of your comfort zone and you try something new, especially in midlife, because why not? Instead of saying why, say why not? And that will cause a little bit less worry when it comes to those types of things. Like, oh my gosh, what if I get asked to do this? Or what if I get asked to do that? Maybe just go ahead and do it anyway. Just have fun and try it. The other thing is just stop the clock sometimes. Just stop the clock. Um, I know my mom is very much like this. I have to get this done by this time. I have to do this on Mondays. I have to do that on Tuesdays. I have to get this done by the end of the week. Every once in a while, just stop and go, why? Why? Is it really that important? Is it really going to make or break your day? Is it going to make or break your week? Are you putting all of this on you when you really don't need to? So just stop every once in a while and go, it doesn't really matter if I get that done today. I can probably do that in the morning. Okay, something less to worry about. It's not healthy to go to bed worrying. And when we go to bed worrying, we wake up worrying because we don't lose the worrying in the middle of the night. It just doesn't disappear. So let's try to end this day today and every day in a positive way. And that way we wake up in a positive way. And we have such a better frame of mind to handle obstacles and challenges and things that are coming our way when we really can end the day with peace and begin our day as a whole new day, not with all of the baggage from the day before. That is really unhealthy for us. Number seven is sometimes having a plan can really help with worry. I know for several things in my life, if I just sat down and said, okay, I'm going to have a plan. We needed to remodel our kitchen at our last house. And I worried about it and I worried about it and I thought, well, what about this? What about, and finally I sat down and I said, well, let's just have a plan. Let's have a 2-month plan of how we're going to manage the remodel. So a lot of times this just, we get caught up in this. And if we just sat down and had a plan, no matter what it is, whether it's your yard, your closet needs reorganized, or your house, whatever it is, come up with a plan and, work within the plan, but use it as a template to cause less worry in your life, something that you can, that can actually be functional and really, really help you with that. So, um, number 8, we're getting to the end, is consider meditation. If you are a big worrier and you're just one of those people that that's the way it's always been, and you have a lot of anxiety, and that leads to other negative things like fear, negative feelings, consider meditation. Meditation is a wonderful way for us to get out of our head and get into another place. So, we will very soon have midlife mini meditations on my channel because I am a big believer in midlife that we need to stop, we need to take a breath, and we need to really look at what's going on in our life, all the positive things and all the challenges. And we don't need to just stay in all of the negative challenges. Meditation is wonderful. A lot of people like to do it first thing in the morning. Some people like to do it in the evening. Sometimes I'll even do it in the middle of the day. It can take 5 minutes. It can take an hour. It really depends on what you want and what you need. If you haven't tried it, there are lots and lots of different ways that you can try meditation. It's on YouTube, it's on podcasts, it's all over the place. And find something that really works for you and slow down and pay attention to your breaths, to your thoughts, and what's really important. And it helps you pay less focus on things that are not important. Just remember, it is a messy life out there. Even if you do everything right every day, life is messy. I tell all my clients that when we're in coaching, they complain and I say, whoops, life is messy. And we signed up for life. And so it's going to be a mess, no matter how hard we try. But there's no need to make it worse. There's no need to make everything so much worse. Try to focus on the present and try to focus on mindfulness and being where you are and stopping and thinking about what's important and what's not. I think it will really help you with worrying. I hope you'll try some of these practices. They have helped me. They have helped my clients in my Love Your Midlife coaching business. And I think that they also might help you. So let me know if there's any way I can help you or answer any questions. And make sure you contact me. I would love to hear from you. And I hope that worry is something you can put behind you and at least have control over. I think you'll be so much happier. I'm glad we had this time together. All right. Bye, babes.